This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century. Welcome, family. I want to thank you all for sincerely supporting the 2018 Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival Celebration Week. This is our second year in a row. Very historic and successful run. Had the privilege of working with the Mike Herb Institute and bringing in the SoUNd Orchestra yesterday. It was amazing. It was their first time in Memphis, a very historic debut. I had the pleasure and honor of introduce them to the Memphis audience, and people were amazed. And we got some of the footage of that festivity from last night. It was like a homecoming because SoUNd was definitely a big fan of Jimmie LUNceford. As a matter of fact, the last time I saw the SoUNd Orchestra was back in 2016 in Birmingham, Alabama, where the guy known as Sonny Herman Poole Blunt, a.k.a. SoUNd, is from before he came. He made his earthly debut May 22nd, 1914 in Birmingham, Alabama. But we all know that SoUNd is from Saturn. But his earthly remains are buried in Elmwood Cemetery down there in Birmingham. And like I said, he was a big fan of Jimmie LUNceford. And is it a coincidence that Jimmie LUNceford remains are buried up in Elmwood Cemetery in Memphis? Is in the words of Baba Dick Gregory, somewhere. See how it works? But anyway, I want to thank everybody for that. I mean, it was amazing. The energy, the love, the compassion, the support that was shown. We even had a chance to resurrect Manassas' fame and legendary music education program that Jimmie LUNceford started back in the 1920s. And they made their debut after almost a dozen years of not having a music program. The same program that Jimmie LUNceford started that gave us people like some of the greatest jazz musicians of the 20th century, like Booker Little, Charles Lloyd, George Coleman, Harold Mayburn, Dee Bridgewater, Father taught there, Matthew Garrett, Emerson Avery Jr., people like that Miles Davis had to take the time out in his autobiography to just mention, because so many of them guys that came out of Manassas High School were important members in his early 60s bands. So with that said, I want to talk about, Jimmie LUNceford said that rhythm is our business. Rhythm is a business. Music is a business. Music industry. And from my understanding, Memphis, Tennessee has more musicians per capita than any place in the country. But from my understanding, with talking with fellow musicians and living legends and people of that ilk, Memphis, we have a problem. The treatment of musicians is horrible. You got professional world-class musicians playing for tips on Beale Street. They're playing in clubs that can't even get a free parking pass. On famed Beale Street, which was made famous by black people, black musician, black culture, whatever you want to call it. But Memphis is known for blues, rock and roll, and even jazz. And yet the people that made the Memphis sound legendary throughout the globe are not even paid enough money to pay for parking. They're playing for tips on Beale Street, y'all. If Beale Street could talk, if Beale Street could talk, all right? What will Beale Street say about the treatment of musicians? So the Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival is not only about celebrating past achievements and accomplishments and remembering the ancestors, but it's also about how can we move our people forward. The Memphians or Memphites, as our homecoming court king, Brother Ekpe Abioto, who showed up and showed out with the Sunrise Orchestra last night. I mean, it was a very historic moment. It was amazing. So what do we Memphites do about this issue? This is why it is so important to have dialogue, to have places, safe spaces where people can address their grievances, as well as talk about solutions. And I'm going to be a part of the answer or solution, not part of the problem. Because this is what we're doing. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the wilderness by myself doing my God work. You would think it's frustrating. It used to be frustrating to know that I've known people as well as elders, well-respected people of the community who have the resources and the support to do the things I'm trying to do, or I am doing, but they could do it even in a more grandeur fashion, a more elaborate fashion, but they don't have the heart, desire, or compassion to help serve their fellow man or human being. So I accept the task. Like Baba Dick Gregory used to tell me, we soldiers. I call ourselves soldiers, all right, in this war. And if you don't like the assignment, then get your ass out the army. So I'm a soldier, a universal soldier in this God work, in this righteous war. I'm trying to elevate the minds of the masses, trying to get people to practice the religion of believing in oneself. So this is the purpose. So it's kind of weird. Like I said before, Memphis has more musicians per capita than any place in the country, in the United States of America, in the Republic of the United States of America. And yet they are poorly treated. It reminds me really of the situation with the sanitation workers strike back in 1968 that brought Dr. King here to his death. We had the sanitation workers not getting paid proper wages, bad working conditions, a lot of things. So much so that they had to remind themselves that they were men. They had the I am a man posters that they were carrying around back then. So I think it's very important that we remember those lessons learned from the 6-day strike. We had to lose a Dr. King so that garbage workers or sanitation workers could get decent pay, better working conditions, and benefits. And 50 years later, a lot of things have not still been realized, even though we lost a king. A king was sacrificed on a chessboard of white mediocrity. It's not supreme, it's mediocrity. With that said, maybe we need a Dr. King-like figure, or Rosa Parks or Jackie Robinson, to change the working conditions of the Memphis musician. Or perhaps maybe Memphis musicians could take a role in their own liberation and boycott the street they made famous. If Bill Street won't pay, then we won't play. Once again, if Bill Street won't pay, then we won't play. That should be the battle cry. But who am I? I'm Ron Hurd. I'm not a member of any musician union. I'm a self-taught musician. I'm just an artist. I'm an expressive person. But also, I'm a manifester. I'm a universal alchemist. I like to manifest things. I'm a paradigm shifter. And I know now is the time the righteous ancestors, not ancestors, but stars, because once they leave this earthly plane, this earthly realm, they go back to the cosmos, to where once they, where they came from. They go back into the black, dark cosmos, the dark matter. This is where they come from. But they come here, like Baba Dick Gregory would say, you don't come here to be a part of this, to conform to the world. You come here to change the world. And I'm a world changer. I came here to change the world. I didn't come here to bring the pain. I came here to bring the love and amplify bountiful amounts. So with that said, who needs a Hall of Fame when you can start your own Hall of Fame? You don't need nobody else to validate you. Like I said, practice a religion of believing in yourself. See, this is a Jimmie LUNceford Legacy Award that I hand out to the people that actually believe in themselves enough to take a step out on faith, to take a bet on themselves, to achieve and manifest their dreams into reality. Only the most well-deserving of our people get these. And this is something I came up with. I guess as we progress with We All Be News Network, we'll start doing more, is talking about, I guess, the music industry. How some things have changed while some things remain the same. And in a point, we're going to get on Sister Angela Green Esquire. She wrote this lovely, it's a book, because this is how, people, attention spans are so short now that pamphlets are now books. But she wrote a powerful book called Music Industry Gladiators. We're going to have on the show to talk about the music business, why you need two types of lawyers in the music game. You need a litigator and a deal maker. And a lot of times people confuse the two. But you need two types of lawyers. You need one that can make the deals, and you need another one to enforce the deal that was made. That's how you play the game. Because what a lot of people don't realize, that Clive Davis is not a musician. He came into the music business as a lawyer. Once again, Clive Davis was not a musician. He came into the music business as a lawyer. So think about that. Think about the folks who create these so-called laws. A lot of them got law background, law school degrees, and all that other stuff. So what I'm saying, knowledge is the currency of the universe. And what Baba Dick Gregory said, information is power. Bad information is bad power. Good information is good power. So we're trying to empower the people here via this platform. So this is like, man, it's been a wonderful week. A lot of exploration and revelation and epiphanies for me. And I hope the good folks out there truly enjoyed the second annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival Week. The second full week. And guess what? Know that the best is yet to come, because next year, in the last full week of October, we're going to do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay, we're going to do it again for y'all. It's going to be even bigger and better. I mean, really, we set the standard, man. We brought the SoUNd Orchestra with the help of the Mike Curb Institute at Rose College to town, their first time in Memphis. And next time when they come back here, we're going to have one of the best barbecue spreads of all time. Some of the best barbecue restaurants in Memphis will be represented, and it will be feeding the SoUNd Orchestra when they come back again. And we're going to have some more surprise, because next year is the bicentennial year for the founding of Memphis, which in ancient times, the word Memphis meaning endearing beauty. But a lot of people who are lost in the woods, lost in the sauce, think it means it's the land of the dead. Memphis, Tennessee, as well as Memphis, Egypt, were both centers, economic centers, religious centers, cultural centers. So they were not the land of the dead. It was the land of knowledge and the master teachers. Not Master P, but master teachers. So we're just elevating the culture. I mean, I'm really excited about Manassas High School program being resurrected. I look forward to them competing in what we have in plan. What we have in store for next year. It's going to be amazing. Y'all better make y'all way towards Memphis the last week of October of 2019. It's going to be off the chain. Because I have learned some things. And I'm going to tell you something. When you do this work, when you do your God work, sometimes you're going to have some lonely times, some doubtful times. Sometimes where everything don't go as planned. That people will let you down. They'll disappoint you. But know that if you believe in yourself and you believe in a cause bigger than yourself, you can never fail. Like a mentor once told me, or a Jegna, Dr. Emmett Price, the only way you can fail if you stop trying. The only way you can fail at anything if you stop trying. I'm never going to stop trying. Even when I make my exit from this matrix, my spiritual essence will still be here. Will still be motivating people. And they're going to take their legacy and amplify it even more. I am a proud legacy carrier of some beautiful and great black men who I have lost recently. Great musicians like Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., like the late great Dr. Randy Weston, who we lost this year on September 1st, 2018. And he told me something, because I know black folks are all confused. They're having this big debate about, were we already over here? Did we come on slave ships? Was slavery a fake thing? I'm going to tell you something. Dr. Randy Weston was a proud black man, a giant of a musician, as well as a man. He's about 6'7", 6'8". And he's probably the only person in history who could claim at his Jagnus, Langston Hughes and Thelonious Monk. As a matter of fact, Langston Hughes had it in his will that Randy Weston had to play his funeral with his band and get paid for it. So I met Dr. Randy Weston about 4 years ago. I was introduced to him by Ulysses Kilgore, Dr. Ulysses Kilgore, of the Kilgore family, of the prominent Kilgore family from Memphis. I was in New York City for the fall. And he said, Brother Ron, I want to connect you with Dr. Randy Weston. Go see his performance at the Skirball Center at NYU in Greenwich Village. And he was doing a performance dedicated to the one and only Lieutenant James Reese Europe, who is the subject of my first book, James Reese Europe, Jazz Lieutenant, which I self-published as well as wrote and illustrated, and which is it came out on his birthday, February 22nd, 2005. And it made the Smithsonian Institute this jazz books for young kids and young adults and kids. The Smithsonian Institute recommended jazz books for kids and young adults. Okay. So that was a interesting honor for me to have. And I'm working on my next book that will be concerning Memphis music history that's not well known, as well as Jimmie LUNceford, my next couple of books. But I saw him in concert. I was amazed. And I met him, and we took a picture on stage, and I ended up sending him a signed copy of my James Reese Europe book. And he sent me a postcard. I believe he was over. I won't say he's over in Senegal. His wife is from Senegal. So I guess he sent me a postcard from Africa thanking me for the book that I autographed. But I had the pleasure about 2 years ago of going to his Brooklyn brownstone and interviewing him for my upcoming Jimmie LUNceford documentary. And so we talked a couple of hours in his study. And he told me something. He said, Ron, my dad is from Panama. My mom's from Virginia. They both were proud Garveyites. And America is Africa. Once again, he said several times during our talk, America is Africa. And so what he's telling me is that black folks already been over here, but also black folks came from the motherland to here. So we're natives to this land, but also we're brought to this land against our will as prisoners of war, enslaved prisoners of war. So we are both right. So how come a lot of us can't see that? But at the same time, I also realize that people like to argue a lot of times, because you keep up BS and keep up arguments is not only a distraction, it gives one an excuse to not do anything in terms of a solution. So what you do is you defer the solution for another generation to handle. And this is how I feel about the Jimmie LUNceford thing. Because if we had remembered Jimmie LUNceford properly, you will understand and understand that no matter how big and famous and wealthy he got, he always gave back. He always gave a damn about black people. It's like this thing with Aretha Franklin. People is amazed that Aretha Franklin did all this fundraising for Dr. King around the country, that she spoke out about the wrongful imprisonment of Angela Davis at the height of her popularity back in the 70s, and was willing to put up the bail money to release Sister Davis or Sister Davis from prison. Our best people, and she's from Memphis, by the way, right? The people that care about us the most, that sacrifice the most for us, that's willing to put their lives and careers on the line for us, we don't treat that well. I'm talking about we as meaning black people. People praise Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he lost his career. Yeah, he gained a lot of notoriety. And yet he's still a multimillionaire. He got that Nike contract, right? He's surely going to get some money from the NFL because they proved that the owners were in collusion in order to exterminate, blackball, cancel out his career. So people think that if you do the right thing, you're going to get financially compensated. That's not true. When Malcolm X died, he had holes in his shoes. He was poor. He was living in poverty. You don't get wealthy doing the right thing in a wicked system. Once again, you don't get wealthy doing the right thing in a wicked system. And yet you got this brother who used to be known as H. Rap Brown, who's Jimmie LUnceford. We don't really know what happened to him. We don't know where he's at. They say he's in Supermax. They keep on moving on him around like he's in witness protection, but they are violating his human and civil rights because he's in jail for something he did not do, or he's in prison for something he did not do. All he did all his life was dedicate himself to helping to serve and empower black people. He put his life on the line to serve and empower black people. Now he's in prison with his civil and human rights violated with an unofficial gag order that he cannot talk to anybody outside the prison, academics, journalists, family, about his condition. And here, while you got a man who has confessed 3 times in prison for the crime that they charge and accuse A.L.L of committing. A man who confessed to killing a sheriff deputy, to seriously wounding another sheriff deputy down in Georgia. But he was a marked man since the 60s, but that's another story. What I'm saying is, Jimmie LUNceford is forgotten about because people are very selfish. Jimmie LUNceford would come back to Memphis. He'll sell out church auditorium, but gave free concerts and musician lessons or clinics to the kids at Manassas High School, where he started off at. One kid in particular was my dear friend, the late great Mr. A.L.L Jr. He was influenced by Jimmie LUNceford because Jimmie LUNceford would come to Manassas. Mr. A.L.L was a member of the high school band known as the Rhythm Bombers. And he was impressed with the musician clinics where Joe Thomas, the tenor saxophonist from Jimmie LUNceford band, took time to show him proper technique and skills and tricks of the trade on saxophone. Mr. A.L.L ended up becoming one of the greatest music educators and musicians that the city of Memphis has ever produced. He became a band leader or a music educator, as well as, like I said, he taught at many schools, at high schools, as a band director. He was the band director of his alma mater, Manassas High School, where he kicked out Isaac Hayes out the band that he directed at Manassas High School. But he ended up working for Isaac Hayes at Stax, helping his pupil become one of the greatest musicians of the 20th century, of all times, really. So Mr. A.L.L also created the SoUNd Heritage Classic in his living room with co-founder Fred C. Jones. He designed the logo for the SoUNd Heritage Classic. He was a Renaissance man, but he was so upset and so disheartened by the condition and the treatment of the Memphis musician, by the mistreatment of students in the miseducation system, where you deny them access to a music or arts education. So I carry his legacy in amplifying not only his love for Jimmie LUNceford, but also his love for black people, his love to empower and educate his people. Mr. A.L.L, through the gift of music and teaching, sent many people to colleges on band scholarships who otherwise would not have any type of way or money to get a college education. So this is only the beginning, folks. I'm just giving y'all a summary. I'm so blessed to be able to be in this space in the spirit of the times to help manifest a different reality. In the words of Sun Ra, he said, space is the place. Space is the place. Space is the place. Your imagination. You can be, manifest, and do whatever you want to do. You are only limited by your imagination and will. So we will continue this conversation later, but I just want to let you know I'm thoroughly enjoying the conversation and know that the best is yet to come. If you want to support the We All Be movement, please feel free to make a one-time or recurring donation. Our email address on PayPal is r2c2h2@gmail.com. Once again, that's r2c2h2@gmail.com. You also can buy artivist gear. You can buy my artwork on t-shirts, and that's at teespring.com, right? But also down below near the video description, there's a shelf of my things that you can click on and buy a t-shirt for $25. You also become a patron at our patreon.com/WeAllBe site. And you can buy artivist art at r2c2h2.com. So in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Peace.